All right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Today, we will be talking about applying for the stretch job. Now, what do I mean by the stretch job? Who can say in 5 words or less what I mean by stretch job?
A job out of your comfort zone.
All right. Anybody else? That's perfect, Maria. Anybody else want to chime in?
A job maybe that you're not sure you qualify for, but want to try to apply for. That's not 5 words, but
it makes the point. Thank you very much. Today, we'll talk about whether or not to apply for that stretch job, how to decide, the special interview practice, preparation, and follow-up that you'll need to do if you do apply. And then we'll conclude with whether or not you agree with the premise that I will make during this presentation. Have you ever read a job posting that you'd like to apply for, but you realize you don't have all of the listed job requirements? Maybe you don't have the exact experience or college degree, or you lack a particular skill. Oftentimes, because of this, you simply don't apply for this job. I say the next time this happens, take a pause and consider how this job might be a match for your true potential, rather than whether or not you check every box in that lengthy job posting. Stretch yourself. It's unlikely that the employer is really looking for an exact match. When the hiring manager was writing this job description and listing the requirements, he or she had this dream new hire in mind, knowing it's highly unlikely that any candidate will ever meet every single one of the criteria. More likely, they're looking for potential and not even an exact match. In fact, they're pretty clear that no candidate is going to be 100% matched to that job description. Other reasons I say you should go ahead and apply. You're upskilling. Some hiring managers actually find that the candidates who can grow into the role are very appealing. At the least, these hiring managers will invite you in for an interview so you can explain exactly how you'd fulfill the job requirements and what other value your transferable skills could bring to the company. You might even be more beneficial to the company with those skills than the company might have even realized that they could benefit from. You might not be a match for that particular position, but they may have another position in another location or department that you're a better match for. By applying, you're expanding your network. You're applying for stretch jobs. It's great practice for your networking and interviewing skills. This stretch job might be your opportunity to learn areas where you may need to add to your skill set or learn about additional courses or other educational resources that will add to your resume. It's also an opportunity to learn more about the industry, meet new people, and test your readiness for the next level in your career. Furthermore, if you have no idea who else applied for this job, employers share tons of ideal qualifications, but don't always receive applications from people who meet all those requirements. You may be as qualified as anyone else who applied. This gives you just as good a chance to get the interview. You just don't have any idea who else applied. Rejection. It certainly isn't easy, especially in the job search arena. It's something every job seeker has to learn. Won't be successful with every application. In fact, with most of them. However qualified and experienced you are. At the end of the day, only one person can get the job. So applying for jobs is great practice for handling that rejection, responding to it, thickening your skin, and picking yourself up to move forward. You will be strengthening your resiliency by applying for stretch jobs. And this practice with being turned down and or disappointed with outcomes is also a great experience for being successful once you get the job. Of course, we know that on the job, you're going to have to really be resilient with dealing with disappointments. Having said all of that, you still want to be realistic. Yes, stretch and consider the position carefully. Ask yourself, how close of a match are you? Are you applying for a job with no experience? Do you have some of the skills? Maybe you have 1 year of experience and they want 3 to 5. This isn't out of reach. However, if they want 10 plus years of experience, it might be a bit out of reach. The other thing to consider is, do you really want this job? Can you get the skills you need? Are you willing to develop the skills that you don't already have and research how to get them and how long it would take? You'd need to be sure to communicate that enthusiasm to the employer if you really want this job. Are the skills they're asking for desired or required? Don't underestimate the importance of these, but of course, it's not always necessary to have all of them, and most applicants won't. But if you're confident in your ability to take on the job, transfer your skills, and be a good fit with the company, it's well worth your time to apply. Consider, do you want to take this leap? Does the job meet your criteria? Even if the job is a long shot, it might be worth the effort if the potential is high enough in terms of the salary, the advancement opportunities, and other criteria that you have. Then you should surely take the leap and apply if it meets your personal criteria. Other things to consider: the company culture. Beyond the job posting, you want to research and consider whether you are a good fit with the company. Research the company's website and social media to see how you might fit. You might notice your skills and experience are different in just the right way to offer something of real value. Explore their values and their mission. Consider your career goals and interests and passions. Do you harmonize with this company? Read about their current projects and teams. Do you have any skills, experience, or knowledge outside those listed on the job posting that might contribute to a particular project or a team? Do they even value teamwork? Does all of this fit with you and your future plans? When not to apply is also very important. If you lack more than half the skills that they're looking for in the job requirements, your skill set, experience, and degree are completely irrelevant to what the job posting describes, and you lack the necessary language skills. But when in doubt, I say go for it. Limiting yourself only to the jobs you're a perfect fit for will dramatically decrease your chances of getting a job. If you don't try, you'll never know. When in doubt, I say err on the side of applying. Besides, applying for jobs is also a numbers game, so the more you apply, the better chance that someone will bring you in for an interview, and then you have the chance to sell yourself on what you do bring to the company and the position. certainly expand outside of your comfort zone and throw your hat in the ring for opportunities that seem like a bit of a stretch. What's the downside here? Any downside that you're thinking about at the moment as I'm
No, I personally think it's all upside. Unless the person does not have, like, especially in a job that requires certain technical skills, like knowing certain skills or programs, that can be a problem. Or if it's a job, that requires a certain skill that is very specific and really necessary to do the job. Other than that, I usually give the same advice, which is just go for it. And if they don't feel you're qualified, you won't get the interview, or you may get the interview and get the opportunity to show them all that you do know. So I like the go for it suggestion.
I do. Yeah, I'm really all for it. I think there's far less on the downside. One thing to consider is when you're asking for references, you don't want to necessarily ask for a reference that you're totally out of reach for a particular job. That might not serve you very well. But
and Robin, I want to cut you off, but another thing is sometimes the one time that I don't suggest that people do that is if they need a license, a certification.
Yes.
Something. There are times when a job requires, that you're going to be driving. You don't have a driver's license. You need to be certified as a medical assistant or some type of tech. Then, then it does not make sense to apply.
Absolutely.
But other than that, if it, short of that, then yes, go for it.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Yes. So I wanted to share some tips for the application and interview process, particularly when you're applying for these stretch jobs. So you certainly want to tailor your resume using keywords that match the job description. And certainly, of course, you want to tailor your cover letter. Your cover letter, I have some particular notes on the cover letter that explain why you're a good fit, even though you don't have a direct match for all of the qualities they're looking for. The first thing you want to do is to focus on relevancy. Never start, and believe it or not, I have seen cover letters that start with, I know I don't have enough experience with such and such, or I know I don't qualify for such and such for this job. You never want to start that way.
Right.
Instead, you want to focus your letter on any relevant skills and experience and key words in the job description that you do bring. You want to stay positive and draw attention to all the positive qualities that potentially make you a great fit. You also want to pull out key accomplishments. Being great at what you do always translates, even if you're looking at a career shift to a different type of job. If you can show that you're someone who puts all their effort into projects to achieve the best results, hiring managers will be impressed. Of course, quantifiable results are best. Maybe you increase sales by 25% in your last job. Maybe you refined a process that improved efficiency, or maybe you organized a company-wide fund drive that raised thousands of dollars for your local animal shelter. It's crucial to include some hard accomplishments in the cover letter. Simple bullet points. You don't want to write a whole life story. If you've listened to my cover letter instructions, very, very brief. I call it a cover note. That's how brief it is. Mm-hmm. And you also want to demonstrate your interest more like a passion for this particular position and company. And you have to state your reason. Why do you want this job? What attracted you to the position or the company? Your positive attitude is something you will bring to, an enthusiastic attitude is something you'll bring to work with you every day. And the great thing about passion is that it can't be taught, and it certainly can't be faked. You can acquire skills, but you can't acquire enthusiasm. You're either genuinely excited about a role or you're not. And who knows, if you don't have all the required skills or experience, but apply anyway, the hiring manager may decide that your passion for the vacancy still makes it worth considering to interview you. And then in your cover letter, you want to really finish strong. You want to inspire that hiring manager to reach out to you for an interview. Maybe conclude with something like, if you're looking for someone who has a lifetime commitment to taking care of people, a passion for learning, and an undaunting desire to get the job done, then you surely want to call me at this number to schedule an interview. You really want to be that bold. That's the type of person they're looking for, more than a very specific skill set. Sometimes people are really attracted to that. Some tips for pre-interview strategies. You need to do your homework more than any of the other candidates. You need to understand what you're stepping into. You'll need to do extra research, including industry magazines and blogs, as well as maybe even setting up informational interviews with professionals, either at that company or similar companies. Reach out to your professional network. Use LinkedIn to make new connections and ask for introductions. During the informational interviews, focus on the biggest challenges of the position. What does it take to be effective? Ask for advice or insider tips, and even practice interview questions to anticipate. Your goal is to gather information that will impress the hiring manager and convince him or her that you have what it takes to succeed, even if your resume does not directly back that up. The other thing you need to do is dig deep, go beyond your obvious past job duties and accomplishments. You'll need to focus on your transferable skills, from project management to working with difficult personalities. Think of some unique perspectives that you would bring to the position. I really like this thought here, guys. Having worked in a different industry or even a different country, means that you have experienced a range of tools, approaches, and techniques that are broader than those, potentially broader than the typical experienced candidate. You could potentially bring a fresh and new perspective. Get really good recommendations. You want to select people who will write strong recommendations, especially for this particular position. You need to take the time to contact your references directly so that you can share an overview of the position and mention specific skills that would make you a great candidate. Maybe even that reference could give you some coaching on what you might do to elevate your level of possibility. Some strategies during the interview. You want to be prepared with extraordinarily good questions. If your goal is to set yourself apart from other candidates, you must do some extra prep to ensure you're asking great questions during the interview. Imagine that you already have the job and you're in conversation with your manager about the challenges ahead and the strategies to overcome. This is where your extensive preparation work can set you apart. Be sure your questions are open-ended and genuinely thought-provoking. Connect with the hiring manager. Create a strong personal connection with the hiring manager. That's a powerful way to elevate your interview. Working together isn't all about technical qualifications. If you're able to demonstrate that you're a loyal team member and a dedicated professional committed to doing the right thing, the hiring manager will be more likely to take the leap of faith. You want to tell the truth on the interview and throughout the application and hiring process. Do not highlight or apologize for what you can't do. Focus on what you can do in everything from your resume to your interview. Be honest about your skill set and experience. Never start with, again, I know I'm not qualified. Instead, I understand I don't have any experience with the healthcare industry, for example. But my experience in the professional services industry has taught me this, this, and this. Remember, your experience is highly valuable, even if it's not an exact match for the job description. When asked about skills you don't bring, you're prepared to share similar transferable skill experiences. And this is really important. Clearly acknowledge that it's not the exact same thing. This actually gains you credibility, because the last thing you want to do is come across as flippant about the required skills. Don't oversell or lie, and don't say anything you can't back up. Maybe you haven't directly managed a team, for example, but maybe you've supervised and led a team on a special project. Or if you're new to the job market, maybe you led a project team at school or in a sports arena. Maybe you led a local parent-teacher group at your child's school or a local volunteer organization. Demonstrate above and beyond your willingness to learn. If you're missing a particular skill or experience using a certain program, like you were alluding to, Lisa, if it's something that you've done your research on, you've researched what you need to overcome to fill this gap. What's important here is that you make it clear to the hiring manager that you're committed to your own development and have a natural thirst for learning new things. So now that you've taken the leap, you've made your connections and did the best you could at your interview, you want to continue building those relationships with everybody you came across in that hiring process by sending each person a really terrific thank you note. Again, I say note because it's not a long letter. In your note, or it could be an email, you want to focus on what you would do to master those areas. That would be, so in your thank you email or letter, you want to focus on what you would do to master those areas that would be required in this stretch position. This shows maturity and reliability. Of course, a different note to each interviewer, and remind him or her about your particular connection to the team, to the company, to the job, and why you're confident you can learn what you need to learn and make a tremendous difference to the company for the long haul. Last but important point, hiring managers inherently view stretch hires as a significant operational risk that they would really prefer to avoid. They put tremendous pressure on recruiters to source and present candidates who already have done the exact job. The point to remember is that your goal of moving up to a new level and title and not being bored is the opposite of the hiring manager's goal of hiring somebody who already has mastered 100% of the job. Your idea of excitement is what they might regard as more work for them. And it's sad because organizations that develop their own people and promote them have far lower turnover. So the goal is to project that you are already at that level. This, in my view, is more about how you are being from your initial application through to your interview and your follow-up. Are you being confident, enthusiastic, really excited about this opportunity? Because that's also very contagious to the people involved in the hiring process. Rather than worry about whether or not you match with their exact checklist, act like you are that person. You are the best fit for that job. As Amy Cuddy would say, for those of you who've seen her body language video, she would say, don't fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it. So now that I've given you my viewpoint, what is your experience with having applied for a stretch job? And have I convinced you to continue with this practice?
Well, I haven't done it lately, but I think I agree. I definitely agree that it's a good job to, try to stretch a little and get out of your comfort zone. I think the key, as you said, is to just make sure that you can emphasize those skills that transfer into the new position. So that's what I would try to do.
Yeah.
Robin, when I tried for the stretch job, I did it because I wasn't really good at interviewing at the time.
Yes.
And somebody told me that go for jobs you don't want. You see what I'm saying? That you're not interested in. And
yes,
you get yourself familiar with going through the interview. So I did a lot of jobs that I knew I weren't qualified for. And actually, somebody wanted to hire me, but I got familiar with it. I got the practice in. Okay. And so now I knew I was ready after that. When you could get hired for a job you're really not interested in. All right. That was definitely a stretch. Okay.
And that was excellent practice. Wow.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Other thoughts, comments, experiences with applying for a stretch job? It's definitely a stretch and a challenge to do it.
Yeah.
But it's great practice on so many levels.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Great information. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.